Just for those who are watching internationally, at third reading, the first speech comes from the Minister, and we no longer have them sitting in that chair in front of the Speaker's chair. The Speaker's back in the Speaker's chair. So we're at third reading. So, yeah, let's see how it goes with the Minister.
Well, I know how it's going.
Statement on the Oranga Tamariki Repeal of Section 7AA Amendment Bill.
That legislative statement is published under the authority of the House and can be found on the Parliamentary website.
I move that the Oranga Tamariki Repeal of Section 7AA Amendment Bill now be read for a third time. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to lead this bill into its final stage in the House, and I'm proud to reflect on the journey that it has taken to get to its third reading today. But more importantly, to reflect on what this will mean for the most vulnerable children and young people in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm proud to stand here as Minister for Children, delivering on exactly what I promised when I became the Minister. That is to ensure that the system we trust as a nation to take good care of vulnerable children and young people is focused on safety and wellbeing above all else. This bill reaffirms the Coalition Government's commitment to the care and safety of children in care. Let me remind you some of the important context. Section 4A of the Oranga Tamariki Act 1989 requires that the wellbeing and the best interests of the children or young person are the first and paramount consideration in the administration or application of the Act. And yet I've stood in front of you and in this House multiple times to share stories from caregivers and Oranga Tamariki staff and people who deal with Oranga Tamariki, whose experience has highlighted that Section 7AA of the Act has been misused and potentially put children in harm's way. Many shared that Section 7AA has led to decisions that were not in the best interests of the child in cases where the race of a child was prioritised over their safety and well-being. Similar stories were echoed through submissions on the bill. While Section 7AA was well intended, it also resulted in children being put second. We can no longer accept or excuse this. We can no longer deny that Section 7AA has led to confusion and conflict in a system that cannot afford to get such a crucial care decision wrong. What happens now? What happens in practice to these young people matter. These children's lives are not lived in theories or in the comfort of academia or privilege. The harm that comes their way is not academic, it is real. That is why I make no apology for repealing Section 7AA from the Act to remove any confusion for people on the ground making decisions on a daily basis to keep children and young people safe. I introduced the Oranga Tamariki Repeal of Section 7AA Amendment Bill while I was in opposition, and the government of the time denied its going through. I then introduced the bill in the House in May 2024 and nominated the Social Services and Community Committee to consider this bill. Once again, I thank the committee for its consideration of the bill. I thank members of the public and the thousands of submitters who put time, effort and heart into having their say on the bill. I'm especially appreciative of the lived experience perspective from submitters with a history in care and the protection system. This included those who were in care as children or young people, and those who have crucially supported the system as caregivers, strategic partners, social workers, social sector partners, and many others. By majority, the Social Services and Community Committee recommended to insert provisions related to strategic partnerships between iwi and Māori organisations and Oranga Tamariki alongside other duties of the Oranga Tamariki Chief Executive. As I've said throughout the journey of this bill in the House, the work the 10 strategic partners have done to prevent young people entering care and to improve the outcomes of those already in care cannot be overlooked. I was very clear that I wanted this work to continue. I have read and heard what members of the public have said, and I've heard from the committee, and I listened.
I am trying to listen to the speech. This is a minister delivering a speech on what is a critically important piece of legislation. I cannot hear her because there's two members of the Māori Party there that are chipping away at her constantly. There are members of the Labour Party. I cannot hear what she's saying.
Point taken. Interjections must be rare and reasonable, so I would like members to take that into account. And I do want to acknowledge the interest in this particular bill as well, but members need to be heard and ministers need to be heard. I call the Honourable Karen Chhour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said in my second reading speech, I commend the committee's majority recommendation that the strategic partnership provisions remain in the Oranga Tamariki Act. This commitment in legislation, rather than as an operational prerogative, is an important one. However, what I want to make clear is this bill does not negate the importance of cultural connections for children and young people. I have no issue with looking to whānau, hapu or iwi as a solution for placements when appropriate, but safety must come first every single time. I recently received feedback that Section 7AA supports decision makers under the Act to have regard to the cultural connections of Māori children and young persons. Their concern was that this would no longer be available for reference after the repeal. This is not the case. Section 5 of the Act requires anyone who exercises power under the Act to be guided by the concepts of mana tamiti, whakapapa and whanaungatanga. The bill does not remove this requirement. What the bill does do, however, is remove confusion between the safety considerations in Section 4A and cultural considerations in Section 7AA. The bill creates clarity in decision-making so that the safety is indeed the paramount consideration for each and all children and young people. I would just like to finish off by thanking all those who have supported me through this process, and also to all those staff who go out every day to make sure that our children and our young people are safe, loved and cared for. I want to reiterate the government's commitment to renew the focus of Oranga Tamariki to be on the safety and well-being of children in care arrangements. This bill and the repeal of Section 7AA will go a long way to ensuring that. I'm pleased to commend the Oranga Tamariki repeal of Section 7AA amendment bill to the House.
Honourable Related Crime.
Okay, so there's Karen's third reading speech.
I don't know about clarity, but we got transparency out of that. I mean, it's pretty transparent what they're trying to do.
I mean, it's not congruent. She's saying it's not about anything academic. It's about real life. But you've just been talking about these reports for the last hour repetitively about these reports. Evidence.
That when she was talking about these reports, we're a day earlier.
Yes.
Just like for us, it was last hour, but for her, it was the day before, and the committee of the House section went for 2.5 hours.
And it's not congruent. I mean, are we talking, when she starts to talk about the people who've been in care, like historically, are we talking about the Royal Commission payouts from all the damage that happened in abuse and care?
Well, I think she's going to be there as retired with old Karen on a walking stick, handing out giant checks to go, I'm sorry, when I was Minister of Children, I sent you to boot camp and it didn't work. Here's a compensation check for you.
Or here's a blanket and a musket. Is that what we're going back to? Is that what we're sorry about that we damaged you as children? Why don't we just give you a blanket and a hug and then we're okay? You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. She's probably going to be throwing people. She's probably going to be saying, "Look, here's a free prison cell for you."
But she's basically saying that they're caring about whakawhanaungatanga and protection. They just don't want to have it legal or have sort of any kind of responsibility to it. But they want to take all the essence in the modules and how we are in Te Ao Māori and the tikanga, but we just don't want to be held accountable if we get it wrong. I mean, that's preparing for failure already. Or basically just get on the microphone and say, I don't want to be accountable. I just want to do what I want. And then, whoops, later. It's the same thing with the Royal Commission. If they, did Karen get a Royal Commission payout from her time in state care?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm not even sure if her section is actually in the qualified area.
Yes, see? Exactly that, Sam. That's what I was just thinking when she said, I've gone and spoken
Considering
to
from what was said on her Wikipedia page, she was born in 1980 or 1981. Okay, she is a bit older than so her period is probably within the payout period, because the payout period went until approximately when there was an Act update.
Yes. So to me, is it ethical that she's even in that position if she has received a government payout from the Royal Commission?
To be honest, I don't think she's received it yet.
But she's in the pipeline of it, though. And then when you're talking about these research and all these people you've spoken to that have been in care, are you speaking on lived experience? Because I'd really like to know whether Karen's in the pathway of actually getting a payout from the Royal Commission or whether she has, because I haven't heard and she hasn't spoken about that. But you want to talk about academia, which you've been doing for days, and all of a sudden this sort of thing. I mean, preventative care is what we want, right? Which is under Te Reo Waitangi. This is why we do that and try and build that relationship. But I would really like to know whether she is actually applied or is going to receive or has received a payment from the Royal Commission.
Yeah. Some comments from TikTok. So we've got, was it Artistic Mind, Chhour, Beautiful Mana. We have from Diverse One, it's beautiful, hope you're all well. And from Mountain H3P20, hi, Cuzzy.
Oh, kia ora, Kaz. Kia ora, my family on TikTok. Thank you for joining in and being a part of such an important discussion. And thank you for being a part of it. Part of change.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook.